AZ Radio Network. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Hazy Radio Network, its affiliates, or sponsors. All shows are independently owned and broadcast for entertainment purposes only.
You are about to embark on a journey. It will be an experience unlike anything you've seen before. On this journey, you will meet many people. Some will advise you, some will inform you, and some will entertain you. Every journey begins with a single step, and the time for that first step is now. Welcome to the all-new AZ Radio Network.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Radio Show with your host, Andrew Brewer, and his co-host, the not-so-psychic Hazy. Ladies and gentlemen, voted as one of the top 100 psychics in the world, your host, Andrew Brewer.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rock and Roll Psychic Radio. I hope everyone is having a happy day. I've had sort of an interesting day. I broke my toe this morning, but, hey, it really hasn't really affected, hasn't even slowed me down because today has been really kind of a magical day other than my toe. The weather's nice. My mother, my 89-year-old mother, was proposed to again. I heard about that today, so that's exciting, even though my mother's not interested in being married. She does like to be proposed to, so that's always sort of a fun event. But this evening we're going to do things a little bit differently. In the second hour, Zita and I will actually be together, and Zita is going to interview me, which is kind of fun because I like to be the guest, right? So we're going to talk about reincarnation and past lives and psychic things. So if you have questions and you want to call in, please do that in the second hour. I'll actually be... If you call in, I'll do readings. We'll talk generic questions, general questions about reincarnation, psychic development, anything you want to talk about. If you have questions, put them in the chat room. I don't do this so often anymore, but I felt like this evening I did want to do it. But our guest is for the first hour is a really magical woman. I like magical women, and I love talking with people that make me think. And our guest this evening, but before I do that, I have to, of course, introduce the lovely and vivacious Zita Oz. Zita, are you there?
I am here. Good evening, Eddie. Good evening, everybody.
So, I want to, because we only have our guest for 1 hour, I want to kind of pick her brain as much as possible. So I want to bring her on. So let me tell you a little bit about Ingrid. Ingrid Elfver is the founder of Born Celebrity. And Born Celebrity is a program designed to help entrepreneurs discover and develop their authentic, one-of-a-kind, million-dollar personal brands. And we're going to get into how that process works, why that means. There's a lot of similarities, I think, in the way I approach being a psychic and the way Ingrid approaches her work, too. I don't want to, give it away, but I think there's a certain kind of stylistic similarity. For more than 20 years, Ingrid has worked with everyone from A-list celebrities to startups. Her clients are experts and trendsetters in the industry who've appeared on national TV and radio. I've done that. That's good. Have been featured in major magazines and newspapers. I've also done that, so that's good. And I've also worked with Ingrid. I think she's incredible. Been quoted by popular websites and blogs. Zita, you're popular, so I'm going to count that. Published books with major publishers. I have half of that. And been paid as spokespeople for major businesses and brands. I've actually done that too. So, if you're interested in more about Ingrid, please go to borncelebrity.com. And she's a beautiful woman. She's tall, blonde, Swedish. I love, beautiful women, especially who are powerful and dynamic and charismatic and brilliant. And I think that she is all those things. And so, I could do my usual kind of goofy introduction, but I want to spend the time speaking with Ingrid. So, Ingrid, how are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you for that beautiful introduction and anchoring of energy for this hour. We're going to have fun.
Thank you. We're going to have fun. I had the opportunity to talk with you about a week or so ago. And I have to be honest, I really, really enjoyed talking to you. And even though it was sort of an abridged thing, I took the things that you said to me, I took them to heart. I actually paid attention to what you were telling me. I actually really went back to the drawing board and thought about the things that you said, and I've tried in my own way to put the things that you suggested to me into practice, and that's true.
So give me an example of what you did.
I raised my prices. I raised my prices.
Yeah, you were too cheap.
I changed my promo photo because I had a promo photo. So I had a promo photo that I've had for 5 or 6 years. And I actually used it when I was an actor in Los Angeles. And that picture got me a lot of jobs as Russian assassins, things like that, FBI agents. And a lot of people would say to me, why don't you smile in your pictures? And I thought, well, there's so many people bugging me now. Why would I want to smile? But then I thought, for people that don't know me, they see those photos, this stern-looking thing, maybe that's not the most inviting way to be. So I actually changed that, and I kind of revamped it a little bit. So I actually went in with a conscious eye of saying, okay, if I'm not hiding, if I'm really embracing my potential, then I need to look at it differently, and I need to allow myself to be seen differently. So as much as it was intentional, it was also trying to be in alignment with how I thought it was optimal for me to be perceived in order to get to the place that I ideally would like to be. And you also helped me frame that when we talked, 10 days ago. So I actually...
So in other words, you're talking about you being a brand, right? And you being who you are more. Is that what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying. And I stole that from you, so thank you. So that process wouldn't work just for me. When you have people coming to you and they're trying to establish themselves in whatever arena that might be, is there a typical process that you go through to help them and define what it is they're about and sort of lay out a strategy for them to move forward?
Well, to me, you see, when I look at brand, I look at the core of somebody's being, who they really, really are, because we have incredible knowledge inside of us. Every person I've ever met, and I don't care if you are super famous or you're somebody who lives in a small town and feel like you're nobody, you are somebody. And it's just discovering what it is that you're best at and what you're really good at. And I think most of us are kind of scared of that. And for me, I discovered this, I actually had a near-death experience a long, long time ago, and I went into silence for a few years. And I think during that time, I got even more sensitive to how comfortable or not comfortable we are in ourselves, in our bodies, in our being, in our energy, and how we communicate, our stance, how we behave in our bodies, how we look in other people's eyes. And when I think about brand, I go much deeper, because if you look at a powerful celebrity, I don't care if they're controversial or if they are, soft, gentle, and kind. Every celebrity is different. But what they have discovered is how to communicate their mission or what they're here to do, at least to the external. Not everybody is all of their brand or is truly being who they are, and that can also be a struggle. But I think that for me, when I develop brands, and especially if it's somebody who doesn't know who they are yet, or they have gone down a certain path and then they're discovering, in maybe a middle part of their business or their brand or what they're doing, and that this is not what I want to do, we have to go back to the beginning and figure out who they really are. So I always try to I ask a lot of questions. I even, in the process, if somebody comes into my bigger programs or VIP days, they actually get asked 150 questions because I first want to know absolutely everything about that person. I want to know their background story, what makes them unique, what other people say about them, what's their struggles, what's their weakness, what's their strengths, who do they think they serve right now, if they have somebody, if they have a job, or if they have a business. Of course, I work mostly with entrepreneurs, people who want to live freely and be who they are and be financially free. And then we go through this journey, and then I actually ask a lot of more questions on a few phone calls. And then usually they fly in from around the world and see me for a day or two, depending on what program they're in. And I actually sit there, and my business partner, husband, we actually sit there and really focus on this person fully for those days. And because to me, understanding and seeing who you really are is what we long for. I think we need to see ourselves, and it's the scariest part too, but it's also the most beautiful part. So that's kind of that's the shortest answer I could give you. Sorry.
No, I mean, that's beautiful, and I've said it a million times. The biggest issue that people have, and the reason I have job security as a psychic, is because most people are conditioned to live some role that has nothing to do with them. It's that they've taken sort of a stereotype that others have suggested to them. It could be in a family, it could be a lot of things. And they've worked on that and haven't really examined what they're about. And if they're not really in sync with who they are and they're trying to do some artificial thing, their motivation to do that's not very strong. Their desire to really push forward is not very strong. So when you know what you want, you're going to go after it. When you're sort of lukewarm, you put forth a lukewarm effort. And I think that's what you're saying, is helping people really be authentic and step into what they're about and who they are. And then that gives them an additional drive because they're motivated. They're doing what they want. They're alive and being who they are. That gives them additional energy to move forward. I mean, there's benefits across the board in every level.
Well, it's very powerful, and the thing that I talk about is a personal brand, right? And to me, personal brand is really who you truly are and what makes you different, what makes you stand out. What is it that you do that nobody else does, or at least the type of work that you do is so different, and discovering your process and all these different parts. And I think a lot of times this is scary because I think most human beings think, or we've been conditioned in life and in society and in around us and from family and friends, and that we don't have enough inside, that we're not enough. And that's also part of our deepest fear, right? So, but the truth is you have something so amazing inside of you, and there's nothing more beautiful than to take the time to discover them. And that's why, to me, the process of actually doing a branding with somebody is something I take time with, because I might have ideas almost immediately, but what I've discovered through the questionnaire, that can sometimes be that I can come in with a preconceived idea of what I think that person should be doing, and then there's a few things they answer in the questionnaire or say that really makes me see that, wow, their body language changed, their whole physical form changed, their voice changed. Suddenly they sounded like an expert, like their clarity, they feel, you can see they're powerful. Something happened in their pupils, they get expanded, right? So there's a few things that actually physically happens to us when we start really doing what we're here to do truly, and not what we think we're here to do. And that's what I think most people that come to me, they're still doing what they think they should be doing. Things are not flowing completely correctly, or is not feeling absolutely genuine. And now I'm not talking about that you're not going to be uncomfortable different times. If you're speaking or if you're out there and you're doing stuff, you will be uncomfortable no matter if you have the most perfect brand, right? Or if you're being your perfect self. That's more about stretching your being and who you are. But really discovering your true brand, to me, is the most beautiful thing. And I want to always be open and pay attention, because when I think I know it, I always have to step back and just take that person in, because I might miss something that's really important. And I don't want us to miss that. that makes sense, the true you, who you are.
No, I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, that's, again, it's very similar to what I do in a way, because, you know,